Okay, well, the first thing that I'm going to do before we begin is say a big thank you to our audience and a big thank you to Stephanie for joining us today. Now, to give a little context of today's talk, Liam Hartley back with you all. This is episode 475, I think, which is quite something to say. And today I am joined by a very special guest. I'm joined by Paralympic gold medalist Stephanie Millward, somebody who inspires and touches so many lives. She is an MBE, an author of Paying the Price, fantastic book, motivational speaker, an ambassador for MS charities, and somebody who helps turn dreams into realities, has won medals at the Junior Olympics and at two Paralympic Games as well. Total of 10 Paralympic medals altogether, I believe, across her career, but we'll find out more about that shortly. And just somebody who is a shining light in the world, guys, because today we won't just be talking about the Olympics, although we will certainly touch on those and talk about the mindset that it takes to compete at that level, especially given Stephanie's devastating diagnosis of multiple sclerosis at the age of 17, I believe, and how she has achieved so much in her life after that time and now encourages others to do the same. So I'm really excited to find out so much about the behind the scenes of Stephanie's life, how she has achieved so much, how she has inspired so many people. And hopefully today, through this talk, we will inspire you, the listeners, to follow your dreams as well, whatever they may be, whatever form they may come in. I hope that you really will realize that anything is possible after hearing this talk. I will also say as well, please subscribe to the Simply Inspired channel and please take a moment after you've listened to this to have a look at Stephanie online because there's places you can follow her and connect with her story. And after hearing this story, believe me, you will want to. So, Stephanie, thank you so much for being here today. It really is a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much for asking me to come. I can't wait to meet you and to meet your audience. Yeah, I can't wait to inspire others and to just help everybody make a difference and change the world for the better for everybody.
Absolutely. I love that. Absolutely love your message. As I said before, you have such a positive energy, and I just love the way that you inspire so many people. So let's start at the beginning. I mean, I don't always start at the beginning with every guest, but I think with your journey, we will walk through the stages because I read somewhere that your first experience with the swimming pool was actually falling in there at quite a young age. Is that true? And can we start with a little bit of your upbringing and your first experiences with the swimming pool, please, Stephanie? Thank you.
Yeah. I was born in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, because my dad was working there. And so my mum and dad lived in Saudi City, which was really nice, lovely place. But was a pool on Saudi City. And my family went and when I was very young, we went to the pool and my older brother was able to swim, my dad could swim, my mum could swim, but I was still a baby. I could not swim, but I kind of toddled over to the edge of the water and fell in. And I sank a bit like a, I don't know, like a rock. So my older brother said, Dad, go save Stephanie. She's drowning. You got to go and save her. So after that almost drowning experience, I did not like the water. I did not want to have showers, did not want to get in the bath, did not want to have anything to do with water. So I had to come to terms with water and start loving it before I learned how to swim and learned how to enjoy water. But once I was in that pool, once I started learning to swim, I was pretty good. I've got medals from before I was 5 years old. So I've got loads and loads of medals.
Wow, that is amazing. Yes, that was actually my next point is from a very young age you were already winning, so you'd found your place in the world. Maybe go a little bit deeper into that process, some of the things you won at such an early age, as I mentioned briefly in the intro, and as you mentioned there. Let's talk about some of the early achievements, please.
Yeah, my husband has now made um what's it called? One of those mannequins, a life-size mannequin of many of my medals. And there are hundreds of Saudi Arabia medals on there, loads and loads of the club medals that I've got. I just won loads and loads and loads because wasn't just good at one of the strokes, I was good at all the strokes. And I was good at the medley, which is where you would combine all four strokes. And at the age of 8, I was invited to Riyadh, which is the capital of Saudi Arabia, and I was asked to swim in the Junior Olympics. And obviously, I went over there thinking, yeah, I'll have the best time. I won a gold medal there for 100 meters backstroke, and that was the beginning of the dream. That was like, if I can win a gold medal here at the Junior Olympics, I'm pretty sure I can win a gold medal when I'm older. When I grow up, I want to win a real Olympic gold medal when I'm older. So that was the dream. That was the desire, and I think everybody should have a dream of some kind. Definitely.
Absolutely, that is incredible. I mean, a gold medal at the age of 80, you don't hear that every day. I can tell you that. And also, I do want to touch on before we go into your sort of teenage years. I'd like to touch on the response you're getting because, from a child's point of view, winning so many things. What was it like being, well known, well respected, or getting the feedback of being so good at this? At such a young age because that's an unusual situation. But I think it's fascinating to get into like how you felt at that time, winning so many things at a young age, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've always wanted to be the best. I've always wanted to be the best in the world. Always wanted to be better than, well, better than myself rather than better than anybody else. Even though being best in the world would mean being better than everybody else. But I was always racing against me. I wanted to be better than me. I want to be better than the last me. So, because the only person you can control, the only person you can change is me, is the person that you are. So, therefore, I've got no control of anybody else. So, therefore, the person I need to change is me. I always had this like inner desire to be better, to study more, to create more things, to be better than I was yesterday, and just try and inspire the world by being better and better and better. And I suppose my family were all good swimmers. Like I've got an older brother, a couple of years older than me, and he was so good at swimming. And so therefore there was little old me tagged on behind him. If I can keep up with my brother, then I'll get better and better and better. So he was my drive. He was a person I wanted to be like. And he was so good because he was so much faster than me, so much bigger than me, so much fitter than me, that I always had to be almost as good as him. It was really, really good. I was lucky.
Oh, I love that. I mean, the inspiration from him and a little bit of competition there, but also being better than you were yesterday and being better every day. I mean, I love that. I know you've mentioned there about your brother and about that competitive spirit, but still, the mental strength that it takes, as well as the physical strength, obviously, to do what you're doing at such a young age. I mean, do you think you were born with that innately in like that drive? Or was it also encouraged by your parents and obviously by your brother, as you mentioned? But I'd be interested in other early influences because you don't hear that every day about somebody so young having such a powerful will to move forward, you know?
I think it was definitely my parents. It was my parents, and every summer we used to, because it got too hot in Jeddah, we used to go back to the UK, and I used to stay with my grandparents, like my granddad and my granny, and they one was a teacher, one was a policeman, and they were just so inspiring. They were so incredible. So I think they were the main drive, and I think that they were kind of. We wanted to be like them, even though they spoke weird because they were from Manchester and and it was always freezing and wet and cold in the UK when we came back. But I remember the great big bags of Easter eggs that we had when we got here, and all of these things. So they were always happy memories. So I think that whole family has got this drive to be brilliant, to be amazing. Because my sister is one of the directors for Abercrombie and Fitch, and she lives in Ohio. My older brother's got a business of his own, which is a multi-million pound business. And then my younger brother lives in Vietnam, and he is on a huge wage, and he's changing the world for everybody in Vietnam. So I think all four of us have made a difference in some way, and I think we must have got it from my parents and from the all the inspiration that we've received in Jeddah and in the UK. Definitely, we're very lucky.
Wow, I love that. I mean, the inspiration, the role models, and the positive influences. I mean, it shows the power of influences on children, and it's wonderful that now you're inspiring the people in general, but also the next generation in many ways. So I love that. Okay, so as we come into your sort of teenage years and everything, I'm guessing then that the momentum was continuing. Now, obviously, there is a time which we'll touch on very shortly when life threw a real curveball at you. But I'm just coming to the time just before that. You were still winning, and your mentality, I'm guessing at that time, sort of, 13, 14, 15, 16, was still going to like the adult Olympics, the main Olympics. Am I correct in saying that, Stephanie?
Yeah, age 8, because of the Gulf War, we moved back to the UK because it got a little bit too dangerous to stay in Saudi Arabia. This was a bit of a shame because I remember I moved to a primary school here, and because I went to an American school, I had an American accent. I used to finish the end of my sentences with period, and one of the other people said, "Why on earth do you keep talking about your periods? We don't want to know." And so that finished straight away. So I remember that. So I just remembered that. So I changed that straight away, and my English accent came almost straight away because of how I was speaking was not correct for that group, which is crazy. It was quite funny. But anyway, I moved back to the UK to a place called Box, which is which is where the Box Tunnel is. It's where what's that children's stories? What's the um dear, come on, Stephanie. The It's about the train and the children's book about the train.
Thomas
Oh,
Engine, is it, or is that Thomas the
yeah,
Tank?
Thomas the Tank Engine. Yeah, the author lived in Box as well, so he's from here, which is incredible. So yeah, so he's inspiring. So that's where I live, and I absolutely love it. But I moved to Box when I was 10, and I went to primary school. I had to change my accent straight away. I, I kept on training before and after school, and that was in a place called Caution, which is about 3 miles away from Box. I used to train, I go there, train in the morning, come back to the school, did my schoolwork, then went training in the evening. And the thing is, the pool in Caution has now been named the Stephanie Millward MBE swimming pool, which is amazing. So, so I kept on going. But while I was training, at the age of at 10, I was good. At the age of 11, 12, I was, British. I was best in the county, best in the west, which is the kind of regionals, and then best in in the nation. I was British record holder age 14, 15. First time I swam for Great Britain was 15. Age 16, I was senior British record holder. Everything was going absolutely perfect. So Sydney Olympics was so close. I was almost there. I was best in the country. Everything was going perfect. And then everything changed.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did, which is something obviously we'll touch on now. Well, we'll touch on it next because I know it's something we talk about all the time. I mean, I'm sure people bring this up with you all the time, but being diagnosed age 17, I believe, with such a devastating diagnosis as MS, I mean, there's a few different aspects to this, and I suppose one of the things I'd like to touch on, not only how you reacted to it, which we'll get to, but did you have symptoms? Now, bearing in mind, Stephanie, obviously I've heard of your career, and after we've spoken today, I'm definitely going to go and order your book. I'm definitely going to go and read from one end to the other. But because I've heard about your story fairly recently, I haven't read it yet, by the way, you know that, so I will read it. So if I miss anything there, please do forgive me. I will read it soon. I'm going off what I've read in articles and other things. But in terms of the MS and that diagnosis, did you have any symptoms prior to that time, or what was the kind of onset? How did you find out, basically? I mean, I guess that's the question there.
Yeah, no, I was very sporty. I was very good. I was very good at running, very good at swimming, very good at anything sporty. I was very good at ballet. I was kind of promoted in ballet. I was very good at everything. I was really clever at school. Had like straight A student. I was really good. Everything was wonderful. Absolutely everything was perfect. But then I got a cold, and then I went to I think I went to Shanghai for I think it was junior worlds or something. There was a competition, so I had to have an injection, but I wasn't 100% well, but I had the injection anyway. So I had this cold, had the injection. I think that was the cause of the multiple sclerosis, because ever since then I have not been well. I've been sick. So I didn't have anything beforehand. I was 100% well. I was better than best. I was really good. And then everything changed after getting the cold, and having that injection. Never
Wow,
got better.
from an injection. Okay, so when obviously the symptoms started or the process, Now, I will say, by the way, before we go any further, I mean, I know you speak about this, you've written about this, you talk about it all the time. Nonetheless, I respect that very much because when you're talking about something that's such a difficult experience, it can't be easy. I mean, even though you speak about it all the time and you use it as something to help so many people, it's not really a question, but I'm just saying I respect that because when we're going back to that point, I'm mindful of, such a devastating situation, and it can't always be easy to remember. But anyway, get into the point of what I'm saying. So when you actually found out, I mean, what happened? What were the symptoms? I mean, what changed after that cold and after that injection?
Yeah. After that call, that injection, I flew to Shanghai, and races I should have won. I was seeded fastest by miles. I should have won all the races, and I didn't. I was shocked. I was surprised. I didn't win any of the medals. I think I came like fourth, fifth, eighth, or whatever, which is I know in the world is not bad, but for me was horrendous because I should have won those races. I flew home, and my mum saw that I was struggling to walk. I was struggling to move, and I was very pale. So she said, "We're going to have to go to the GP. You don't look at all well." So I went to the GP, and the GP noticed some flickering in my eyes. He said, "There's something not 100% sure. I think it's an ENT, an ears, nose, and throat problem." So he booked me in for an ENT appointment. And the ENT doctor said, "I don't think it's got anything to do with your ears, nose, and throat. I think you need to go and see a neurologist. I think you need an MRI scan," which was terrifying. An MRI scan is magnetic resonance imaging. It's where they take a scan of your brain. So it's very, very scary. And my mum and my dad paid for me to have an MRI scan and see a doctor privately, which was quite expensive because they were worried because obviously these Olympics were coming up. I didn't want to get sick. And so I went and I had an MRI scan of my brain, and then we went back the day after to get the results of the MRI. And um the the neurologist said, "Stephanie, is there any way you can stay outside of the room while I speak to your mum and your dad?" And I thought, whoa, you know, what are they going to say? What are they going to discuss? What's going wrong? What have they seen in my head that I don't obviously know about? And so that was terrifying. In the end, they were just worried about the amount of scarring on my brain. But multiple sclerosis is in Latin is the Latin for many scars. So there are many scars on my brain, and there's many scars, a lot of swelling on my brain, and that's what they saw. And they said Stephanie might have a bad infection, might have lupus, or might have multiple sclerosis. And in the end, it was the last one. I was hoping, obviously, it was the infection. I was hoping it would go away, but it didn't. And yeah, the after going for that MRI, I came away and I was a little bit worried because obviously I was still very positive, thinking, yeah, it's just an infection, it's nothing, absolutely nothing. And then I went blind. I went blind in both eyes. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. I had 20/20 vision. I went blind in both eyes. And
Well,
then a couple of mornings later, I woke up paralyzed. I couldn't move, couldn't see, couldn't do anything. I was just lying there, desperate for the loo. I couldn't move. What on earth would you do? What would you think? How would you cope? So wrong. So wrong.
that is. I mean, obviously, it's horrific, really. I mean, at the age you were, and at the shock of the diagnosis, paralysis. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know you've definitely made good of so many things, which we will talk about. But still, I mean, it's just absolutely dreadful. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of the recovery process, as I understand it, that was long and arduous. I have to ask as well because people look at the physical symptoms, but when we're going like inside your head here, and that's very very important for other people who have any, whether it's MS or anything else that is debilitating. What was going through your mind? I mean, obviously you mentioned earlier that the Olympics were coming up, so on the 1 minute you're kind of full swing over there, then life has gone in a completely different direction. So, on an emotional level, and as I said before, I fully respect this is probably not very easy to remember, even though you talk about it often. What was going on, in here and in here, and just your thought process and your mindset at that time, especially being paralyzed, not being able to move.
Yeah. It was, what did I do wrong? What on earth did I do wrong? Because I'm an accountant. I work with numbers, so I was thinking 1 plus 1 always equals 2. What on earth did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? And the only thing I could think about was that injection. That was the only extra, because I had always been happy, always been positive, always been very jolly, always been, always wanted to help other people, wanted to make a difference. And then suddenly, bang, something had gone, something had changed. And the only thing I could think about was that injection when I wasn't very well. So therefore, that must have been the thing. But then I thought, why? Why did I get sick? And started questioning the reason for it, because I had the perfect life. I had the perfect eyesight. I was going to university. I was going to be going to the Olympic Games. Everything was perfect. So why did it have to stop? And in the end, I was diagnosed with MS. I think I was 18 and 4 days old when I got the diagnosis. But you have to have almost 2 attacks to be diagnosed with MS. And what was so scary, what was so awful was that everything had been perfect for me, and I thought, why would my perfect life change? Why am I being taught this horrible lesson? Like, who am I meant to be helping? Who am I meant to be, what am I meant to be becoming if this life has changed so much? I was very, very depressed because obviously I'd lost so much. And it took me about 8 years until I was fully 100% back on top of it, all of my emotions and stuff. But I started thinking, how can I help myself? My mum said to me one time, because I couldn't. Sorry, there's some noise outside. My mum said to me, would you like to would you like me to come to the pool with you? And actually, before that, I spoke to a neurologist, no, to a psychologist, and they said, I think you have to take your old life, the perfect life, the perfect world, the perfect person, the Olympic dreams. I think you have to take that person to a funeral and say goodbye, and then welcome this new person who couldn't see, who couldn't walk, who couldn't move, who couldn't do anything, who had as good as a zero future. He said, why don't you just welcome this new person? Because then every single achievement you do, every single step is something you can celebrate. And, going from a straight A student to celebrating steps was 100% different. You had to be grateful for every single thing that you've got, grateful for the body that I had, although I had to go on steroids, so I piled the weight on. I was no longer the sporty individual that I was with the perfect figure, the perfect everything. I was now huge because I was trying to stop the swelling on my brain. The steroids didn't work, unfortunately, so all that weight for nothing. But thankfully lost it. So all of these bad things kept on happening, one after the other. The steroids didn't help. There was no way of stopping the getting worse and worse and worse. And I thought, okay, why don't you take me now? What's the point in me still going? What is the point in me being here? Because if I can't swim, if I can't go to the Olympics, if I can't speak, if I can't, move, if I can't see, what is the point? That was the hardest part ever. And if anybody's going through anything like that, I do honestly wish you all the luck in the world, because that was so hard, because I had nothing. But then I thought everything starts from a bit of paper. So therefore, every day can be a bit of paper, and you can write that bit of paper exactly how you want it to go. So therefore, I changed that bit of paper. I started moving. I started celebrating each and every day, celebrating each and every breath, because I didn't want to be here for a very long time. It didn't seem worth it. I thought the more that I'm here, the more upset my parents will be, the more bad I will cause to everybody else. Because I wasn't moving, I wasn't seeing, I wasn't doing anything. I was useless. So therefore, there was no point me being here. But then I started thinking, what if I can change this? What if I can make a difference? What if I can rewrite that story? My mum said to me one day, would you like me to help you get to the pool? Because at least in the water, you don't need to think about where your feet are going. You don't need to think about each and every step. And I said, yes, please. And so I went to the pool with her help, and I swam a few lengths. I think I swam 40 lengths, which for me is not that many, but it's about 1,000 meters. And then I got out, and she said something that was really, really, really important. She said, I'm so sorry, I won't be able to come and watch you again, because it's so sad for me to see you now in comparison to what you were like before. And that is just so powerful, but so sad for her. But it was so good for me, because I realized then that if you want to do anything, you had to be the driver. You had to be the person pushing yourself, and you have to be the person who says, yes, I want this. Yes, yes, this is going to be my life. Yes, this is what my dream is telling me to do. So therefore, I got in the pool every day. I'm one of these people. I'm bad, really, but I was given the physio gave me a walking stick, and I was thinking, why on earth have I got this walking stick? Walking sticks are for dogs. They're for dogs to chase, for you to throw them, for the dogs to chase. They're not for me. So I kept on using walls. I kept on using everything but this walking stick. That's crazy. And so I got in the pool every day. And one day when I was in the pool, my friend said, would you be able to teach my friend Adrian how to swim because he wants to do a triathlon? Lazy bones has not done that triathlon yet. He is so lazy, but I'm now married to the guy. So and Adrian was the one who said, why don't you come back as a Paralympic swimmer? Because you love swimming, you love being in the water. You don't need to think about your steps, and you've got that Olympic dream. Why don't you come back as a Paralympian? And I was like, nah, too old, too fat, too ugly, too no chance. All the excuses. But the dream was still there. I still wanted that Olympic dream. I still wanted to be the best in the whole wide world. So the people in in it where I live, didn't want to coach me because I was disabled. So I had to move to Swansea, where a coach was really, really kind. And I moved to Swansea 7 weeks before Beijing Paralympics. I went to Beijing, came fourth, fifth, and sixth. I went to London 4 years later, got four silvers and a bronze. And then 4 years later, went to Rio, got two bronze, one silver, two golds, and also went to Tokyo. So you said I went to two Paralympics, but I went to four Paralympics and loved each and every one of them in their own little special way. So they were brilliant. And I did win 10 Olympic medals. And I did realize my dream, even though I couldn't move, I couldn't see, I had nothing. But I rewrote my story. I rewrote what I was meant to be doing. It's amazing.
That's incredible, Stephanie. That is one of the most incredible stories that I've ever heard. And yeah, sorry about that with the intro, but yeah, I mean that is remarkable. So I have to put it into the mindset of that time, because when you started winning medals again, maybe if we talk about like the first couple, or I mean, even if we talk about any of them, then that coming full circle is not the right word, but in other words, the fact that the dream did happen for you, even though at one point in time it looked like it never would, and it looked like it was all over, and such a sharp contrast where you got there in the end. I mean, how did that feel? What can possibly go through your mind in a moment like that, where you've gone from paralyzed, blind, overweight, swimming what's for you a small number of lengths and everything, all the way to actually winning the medals. I mean, how can you put into words something like that when it actually did come true, or at least start coming true? But even when it came true all the way, I'm curious to go behind the scenes of not just the performance, but what was actually going on up here and in here.
Yeah. Well, we went to Sheffield, and it was for a national competition, and I had to have help getting on the blocks. I had to have help with getting out of the pool. I had to have help to get into a wheelchair afterwards. So I wasn't very good. I was 100% different from what I had originally been like, and I think that was the biggest shock, just because everything had changed and I wasn't ready for it. But after I had swam, I can't remember what race it was, but I got out of the pool, and I was crying. I was in tears. I said I was so slow. I was so rubbish because my times uh, as a Paralympian were so much slower than they were as an Olympian, or like training for the Olympics. So therefore, it was a shock for me. I was like, "There's no way I'm going to get to where I want to be. No way I'm going to be the best in the world. This is useless. This is rubbish. I'm rubbish." And then my now husband said, he said, Stephanie, the time you've just done is a British record. You've just beaten the person who is the best in Britain. You just got a British record for your first race coming back as a Paralympian or as a disabled swimmer. He said, I think you should do a little bit more training, get your head down and just start believing again. So that was the main thing that I lost. If I had, it's almost like you take a step forward, and instead of standing on the ground, you fall into the water and you go down and down and down, or falling off a cliff. And so I just didn't have anything, and had nothing that I trusted, nothing that I believed in anymore. And it took me so long to get back and to start believing in myself. And I think that the belief in yourself is the most important thing, and that everybody in the whole wide world should have that belief in themselves, because that is what we should all be living off. Because that belief in yourself can drive you to be whoever you want to be. And as soon as I started believing in myself, and as soon as my family started believing in me again, and as soon as my husband believed in me the whole time. So I think he was my main hero, my main force, my main driver, because he was probably the only one who did believe in me, because I didn't believe in me for a very long time. Nothing seemed good enough. Nothing was worth it. But the dream was still there. So therefore, I kept on going. I kept on fighting, and I kept on believing, you know, and it happened eventually.
A couple of things with that that I also think are really extraordinary. I mean, I have to ask, with your husband because there's a sort of a really lovely love story here as well with you guys. I mean, obviously, how do I put this? I mean, at the time he met you, you were really struggling more even than now. And as cliche as this may sound, I mean, the fact that he loved you anyway and he was kind of with you at your lowest time to now and all that kind of thing. I mean, that's a very soulmate-ish kind of thing, and people talk about that. But I mean, I'm listening to this thinking, wow, I mean, you were at your lowest point and he was there for you. Can we go a little bit deeper into that kind of topic? Because I think that it's so powerful for people to hear that it's possible to receive love even at your lowest time when, oftentimes we don't even feel worthy of it in ourselves, if that makes sense. I'd like to go a little bit deeper into his encouragement because that sounds like a really important part of the story as well.
Yeah, yeah, no, actually, it's very good because the fact that we met in a swimming pool is incredible. The fact that the chance encounter of us both in the swimming pool is amazing, and the fact that when I got in the pool, he knew I had MS because his friend had told him, but I didn't tell him till a little bit later, and I thought that he was going to be like everybody else, and he was going to stay away, that he was going to be scared of the disease, that he would have therefore nothing to do with me. But he stayed, which was a surprise for me because most other people went away. And when I started struggling with walking, when I started struggling to talk, when I started struggling to see, he just wanted to help. He didn't take a step back. And when I was crying, because I did a lot of crying at that time, I couldn't understand what I had done wrong. Things weren't right at all. And I did a huge amount of crying, a huge amount of not understanding, not thinking, what the heck did I do wrong? Why am I here? And I was also having to inject myself every other day with a drug called beta interferon because they put me on beta interferon for a little while to see if that would help. I was on beta interferon, so injecting myself every 2 days for 8 years. And I think it definitely did help. But it's kind of you're inflicting pain to get better. And it just seemed wrong. I was thinking, this can't be what I'm meant to be doing for the rest of my life because why would I be making myself do something painful to get better? It just didn't make sense. So all of that time, I was really very confused. It just did not make sense. And I kept on asking, what, what am I meant to be doing? This can't be right. Just before the Paralympics, I came off the beta interferon. I decided I'm not going to be on any drugs because I don't want any kind of help. I don't want anything to help me with the Paralympics. If I win the Paralympic medal, I want to win the medal for myself because I've won it, not because of a drug of any kind of has helped me to win it. So therefore, I came off the drug, and the neurologist said, "Yeah, but you might get worse." I said, "Yeah, but I might get better because I'm doing something I love doing. I'm doing something that I want to be. I want to be the best in the world. I want to be the world champion." And I agree. After most of my sessions, I couldn't walk, I couldn't move, I couldn't see, I couldn't do very much. But I think that it actually made me a stronger, better person. So all of that training that I did, it's helped me. It's made me more more motivated, more strong, much better person. So, and I'm glad I came off the drugs. I'm glad I'm not on any drugs now, and I've got better. You know, things things are all in here. I didn't know it then, but I know it now. Everything is in here. Whatever your brain thinks, whatever your brain knows, whatever you tell yourself is what will come true. You have to just believe it. Think of all the good things. Never think of bad things because they're bad. One thing I did realize was that every symptom, every time I got sick, every time something went wrong with the MS, was because I had thought something negative. So I linked any kind of negative emotions, any kind of negative thoughts, any kind of worry, any kind of, anticipate anything that I'm struggling over. that always caused a reaction, like another bit of, I know it sounds crazy, but another blindness episode, another, unable to walk, or another day when I fall to the floor, or another, something going wrong. That was always triggered by something negative, some negative emotion. So therefore, I thought that every time I'm negative, I get worse. So therefore, giving the MS powers. So therefore, if I am happy, if I'm very positive, if I'm happy all the time, then the MS will not get worse. It will get better. Because if every time I give it negative energy and it gets worse, if I just give it positive energy, it will get better. And it did. So therefore, do not think negative energy, do not think negative thoughts ever. That is the cure for multiple sclerosis. Stay positive 100% of the time. You cannot be negative. You cannot think negative thoughts because it's not good for you. But it's not good for anybody. It's not ever good for anybody. So yeah, stay positive always.
Absolutely. I mean, what you feed your mind, it's so important. But that is incredible hearing that firsthand. I have heard cancer survivors also tell me exactly the same thing that when they were doing that process, their tumors actually shrank and symptoms reduced and everything. But even so, hearing it firsthand like that, absolutely incredible. I have to ask as well, just so it doesn't slip my mind, when you said earlier, but at that time when you did the 40 lengths and your mum couldn't watch you anymore and things like that. Obviously, then your parents went from, the horror of you being like a shadow of your former self all the way to you being at the Paralympics and achieving the dream that you set out to do. And they obviously saw that. So, I mean, the reaction from your family, and you mentioned your siblings earlier and everything like that. What was the reaction like as you started winning again within your own immediate circle and well, your own family and close friends, basically?
Yeah, they were, well, my family were very negative. They were saying I wouldn't do swimming again. You've already got to the top of the country, top of the world. I was swimming in World Cup events when I was able-bodied, and they said I was on my way to the Olympic Games. They said you've already proven that you're the best in the world. You don't need to keep on pushing it now while you're sick. Just let yourself get better. And then one of the, I think I was fighting for the postcode lottery, and my mum said something huge again. She said, you can either sit back and, hide your body, hide yourself, hide away from the rest of the world, or you can come out and be a media person and tell the world that you've got multiple sclerosis and that you are going to be here and you're going to fight their war with them and for them. I did get the drug for everybody in Wiltshire and in the rest of the country, so we stopped the postcode prescription, which is wonderful because I went to the House of Commons with the MP James Gray, so we did all of that. So, but that was another trigger. It was am I going to stay away? Am I going to hide myself in my room, or am I going to come out fighting? And I came out fighting, even though some days I couldn't walk, some days I couldn't see, some days I couldn't move. But every time I came out, I was that bit stronger. You're almost building, when you build a house, you don't build a house within a minute. You have to put brick by brick by brick. So therefore, every single step was another brick in that floor, and I was on my way to building this house, or building the property, or building my future. So therefore, every single step, although it might take a very long time, is important. Every single day is important. Every single story that you write, that you tell, that you say, every single thing is a new little thing in your brain. Everything is important. Crazy.
Now, obviously, you've learned this depth of wisdom and everything from this, and now in just a moment, I'll touch on the book and your speaking and everything. But one of the other things that really stands out to me is when you were saying before, why did this happen to you, and what's the meaning of all this, and like almost are you being punished, or what did you do wrong, or that kind of thing. And I'm interested as well to touch on the mindset then versus now because you've made such a positive out of such a horrible situation. Does it make more sense to you, or does it have a different? Do you have a different take on it now? Because obviously, when we get into the emotions, you said you can't give any negative emotion. I find that fascinating because I thought, well, maybe there's a bit of anger, or maybe there's things that you use as fuel, but actually you're saying, okay, you keep it totally positive. I love that. But the perspective on such a brutal illness, really, from that time to now, does it make more sense in terms of like the meaning and in terms of like why this has happened to you? Because I know you've made a positive out of it, but through that, you obviously have a different perspective on what it means to have it. Does that make sense? In like where I'm going of like your mindset then versus now kind of difference?
Yeah. Yeah, because I was very angry. I was very fed up. I just couldn't understand it. It didn't make sense, which is why I was so annoyed by it all. It's just thinking, what did I do wrong? Where did I make the wrong decision? And but the thing is, I asked the question. I said, dear, I do believe in God, and I said, dear God, please give me every single symptom of this multiple sclerosis. Give me everything. Make it really bad. Make it nasty. Make it horrible, because at least then I'll be able to help other people. Give me every symptom. Let me understand it. Let me know why I got this illness. Because I realized that the only reason I could have got this illness at quite a young age was to help others. So therefore I was asking for everything. Give me every illness. Make me be paralyzed, make me lose, because you lose control of your bladder, you lose control of your bowel, you lose control of everything. And the amount of times I've punched myself in the face is ridiculous. And the amount of times I've bitten myself just because you don't have total control. And I just said, okay, give me everything. If I'm going to have this illness, make it bad so that I can help other people. I can make a difference to other people because I will have been through everything. I will have had all the nasty symptoms. Will have had every single nasty experience happen to me. So therefore, give me everything, which is wonderful. So even though it's horrible, it's wonderful because now I can help so many other people, which is what I've done, which is what I'm doing. So
Oh yeah, that's what you're doing and then some, which we'll touch on now. But yeah, so you mentioned about speaking to God and everything. So I mean, do you believe now that this is like a God's plan kind of thing, or that this is was like meant to be kind of? I mean, I'm getting that vibe, but am I correct in saying that, Stephanie?
yeah, because I think that everybody's got a story, and it might have already been written. It might be, or might be changed by what we do. But I think that we are in charge of where we go, and I think that this story has been written. And I'm one of these people who doesn't like an easy life. I like to have a hard life. I like to work for things. I like to, if I don't know, if you gave me a bit of paper, I would write you an essay just because I wanted to include everything in it. So I'm one of these people who've always done everything to the best of my ability. And I think that's why I've got this hard, hard life. I've had the hard life so that I can therefore help everybody else who had a hard life. So I'm sure other people have had a harder life than I have because my life changed. I think I had 8 incredibly hard years. At one point, I was raped. But the thing is, at least I know I can help people who have been raped. At least I know I can help people who have had all sorts of different bullying, who have had all sorts of different issues. So I asked for this. I asked for all these bad things so that I can help other people. So therefore these bad things, like another person said, how could you forgive the person who raped you? I said, it wasn't their fault. I asked for it. So therefore, indirectly, I must have asked for the illness. I must have asked for whatever so I can help other people, so I can make a difference to their lives.
Hold on a minute. So I was just about to go to like the speaking and the book and your impact, which we will get to in just in the latter phase of this. You were raped as well. Okay. I mean, I didn't know that. I mean, as you've seen, I've done as much prep as I can, but not as much as I like to do. So I'm doing what I can there. But being raped, I mean, okay. Um, First of all, I'm just taking that in because I was thinking, wow, you've been through all of this, and you're so positive, and you're so, I mean, yeah, I'm a believer in God as well, so I understand the concept of the planning, but it's still like a disease, in the body. But then adapting to recovering from somebody purposefully doing something so horrible to you like that is a different kind of thing. And while we're on the subject, I'm going to ask the same type of thing. I mean, in terms of your recovery from that, forgiveness, there's a number of things here. Um, do you mind touching on what happened? Because I'm aware that these things, I know that you speak about them. I've said this before in this interview, but they're still not like easy to, revisit some of this stuff. Um, Obviously, you're in a vulnerable position with at times with, paralysis and all that kind of stuff. Did that factor into what happened, or was it another situation entirely? If you don't mind me asking about the rape, if that's okay to
Yeah.
touch on.
Um, yeah, I Well, when I passed my driving test, I told them that I had MS. I had to because I thought I can't just pass a driving test without telling them I've got this incurable disease. So every time I went, I think I failed about 3 or 4 tests, and I told them every time I suffer from multiple sclerosis. Please don't let me pass easily because I want to be as good as I possibly can be. So therefore, I pre-warn them that something could go wrong. And um, often my eyesight is affected and therefore I can't drive because I know that whenever I can't see very well, I really shouldn't be driving. And I know that distances, so walking down steps, I really struggle with. I still struggle with that now, unfortunately. So going down steps, I always have to have help with somebody else because I can't see where the second step is, which is a bit of a nuisance. And I don't know. I think when I was raped, I think it was more I was looking for acceptance. I was looking for hope from somebody, and I let somebody not so nice in, which I shouldn't have done. Normally I've got triggers up. Normally I've got little barriers up so that I don't let people in too early. But I let somebody get too close. He made me drive. He said, "Can you drive me home?" And I said, "Yes." And then he made me drive to my house, and that's where it happened. But um, yeah, yeah, I don't know. But I suppose uh,
And
my
well, I'm sorry to if it's a difficult thing to touch on, Stephanie. I respect that very much because it's yeah. I mean, wow. Some of the things you've been through to be so positive and to be so kind and so sunny and just to have all of these positive attributes and all of this positive energy. That you have today is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's one thing to be determined, which you obviously are. I mean, the resilience, the fortitude, all of these things. Yeah, okay. But then, it's another thing to remain, how do I put this, basically such a good person. I mean, that's the simplest way I can put it across when I'm sitting with you now, as I said, happy and sunny and, the amount of empathy you have for people, the care and the kindness you have for people. And, you haven't lost any of that really despite all of these experiences. I mean, that is a massive win on its own, like a medal. I mean, because the amount of people who get bitter and twisted over much smaller things really than what we're talking about here. So I mean, that's not even a question really, but I'm just saying that in itself is absolutely phenomenal in my mind in equal measure to winning all of these medals because you stayed as I've said, kind and trusting and just positive, and it's just like, wow, I'm just taking in the depth of that. Okay, so when it comes to your speaking and things, and inspiring people, and obviously writing your book and putting the story out there in all of these forms, that's a different kind of bravery again to even the competitions. I think. I mean, it's incredibly brave in terms of like the Olympics and everything we've been talking about. But speaking about your life, public speaking is, as I understand it, the number one fear in the world. That more people are afraid of public speaking than they are of dying, apparently. I've read. So there we are. And you do a lot of it, and obviously you impact a lot of people. So can we talk about the decision from how do I put this? Basically, from the lessons you've learned in your own life to then deciding, okay, I'm not just going to win for me, but I'm going to pass this on to so many other people. And you said earlier about your mum saying, you can hide away or you can get out there. But I'd like to go deeper into that process, basically, the decision to become a public figure in this way and inspire so many people.
Yeah. Well, I suppose taking a step back to that rape, I believe he raped me because of something that went wrong in his life or something that happened in his life. So therefore, by me being just a body, I helped him in some way. So therefore, I just wished him luck. I just wished him good luck and prayed for him and hope that he found solace in himself and that he didn't regret anything that he did. I just hope that he was happy afterwards. I hope that little bit of negativity was all that he needed to get over whatever it was that he was worried or stressed about. So I think that I was just um a page in his lesson of life, and I didn't include the rape in my book because I didn't think it was important. I think it has an effect, and it will always be in my head. Like when I was talking to you, I was imagining it, and I felt a little bit um sad, I suppose, which is not good. But I was sad because I upset some people at that time because when I told the police about the rape, my nan was there, and she's now passed away, but she heard it and she saw my tears. So I think those kind of things I wish I could take away, and I obviously can't now. And I don't know. I think that the rape has made me stronger. It's made me look at other people and just be able to help more people. And I think the whole of my story, my whole of my life has been about helping other people. And I've got a counselling degree, I've got a coaching course, I've got different courses to help different people. So I just want to make this world a happy, fun, enjoyable place for everybody. I want to change people's mindset so that they always see the positive in everything, that they never regret anything they do, and they never think badly about anything that happens, and they always think positively. Because I've stopped so far 7 men from taking their own lives because they've had suicidal thoughts. They were very depressed. They were very upset. But I've changed their lives, and now they are living wonderful lives. You know, the fact that I've changed their life, they're no longer thinking suicidal thoughts. They're living a wonderful life. You know, and if all those nasty things had happened to me, so I can do that, that's incredible. That's a privilege for me. It's almost a thank you for giving me the nasty things, because I can help others. I can make a difference to their future. You know, it was already written in the stars. I was helping other people. The Olympic gold medal, anybody can do that. They're helping other people and saving people's lives. Not everybody can do that. I think it's incredible.
Well, yes, it is, and what you're saying there about saving people's lives, I mean, it is absolutely incredible, and I can't do it justice in words, really, Stephanie. I mean, the impact that you have on people. But I would like to go deeper into that as our sort of final topic today, in terms of well, actually saying that we will. I'll touch on your future plans as well briefly, but just in terms of the second to last topic, you know, in terms of the impact you have, stopping people taking their lives, you know, inspiring people. Let's go a little bit deeper into that because when you get the feedback from people that you know your talks have helped them, your book has helped them, you know your one-on-one work with them maybe. I mean, I'm sure it comes in different forms. Has helped them. Let's go deeper just into how you feel when you hear those kinds of life-changing impacts that you've had on people.
I love it. I absolutely love it because that's the reason I'm here. I thought it was to be Olympic champion, but it's not. It's to help others, to make a difference to people. I've created a business called the Smile Limited. It's all about making people smile because every time somebody smiles, you generally get a smile in return. Like every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So therefore, if I smile at you, you'll smile back. So therefore, I've made you happier. So therefore, if I can smile to the world will smile back. If I can change, like I would love to have um, a day of love. I would love to create a day of love where everybody just smiles and enjoys and just does everything that they love doing and sees the people that they love seeing, and do things that they love doing, because we are so lucky to be here. We are so lucky to be on this planet. We are so lucky to be here, and when everything is frequency, everything is joy, everything is happiness, everything is emotions, we can be anything we want to be, and all we have to do is believe it. That's what the swimming proved. You can do anything you want if you believe it enough, and you just have to trust it. You just have to believe it, and you have to ask for it. Ask God. Say, "This is what I would like to do, please." And I'm going to do it by doing this, this, and this. Please support me, and He will. You know, you can do anything, absolutely anything. We're so lucky. We have got that blank page. Like I said, we got that blank page, and we just need to fill it however we wish to fill it. That is our story of life. We can write it however we want to write it. Do not think negative thoughts. Do not think negative anything. Think only positive. You know, Roald Dahl. I know some people like him, some people don't. I think he's incredible. Those books he wrote, they are all about his dreams. Yeah, and he's made those dreams come true in the children's lives, He's got he's got all sorts of fantastic stories, all about things that really can't come true, but they do in his book. So therefore, he teaches children to dream big dreams. Then you go to school and you learn how to learn. So you stop dreaming, stop your imagination stops working. So therefore, your inspiration and everything up here stops working. Everything's brought back down to how much can you jam into your brain? How much can you learn? But the thing is, I want you to start thinking, what don't you know? Or what new thing can you think of? We need inspiration. We need the new things that the children are thinking of. Mum, I want to ride my bike in the sky. Why not, hey? Why not? I want to do something incredible. Why not? Let him dream those dreams, because that's what we need. We need those dreams to come alive. I've written I've written a series of 7 children's books, and it's all about believing in those dreams and letting those dreams come true because that's what we need. We need the dreamers because at the moment we're all, just going through a life that we've been told that we're living, and we need dreamers. We need new people, new inspiration, new thoughts, new ideas, and I just want people to be happy and to love life and to enjoy life to the full. Crazy.
Wow, I love that. I absolutely love that. I mean, the whole idea of, as I said earlier, inspiring the next generation and really going all the way back to what we were saying earlier when you were winning medals at such a young age, at the age of 8 and all of this. And I asked you about the role models, and flipping that on its head now to how you're inspiring them, as you said there, not just to be determined like that, but to dream of new things. I mean, like you're saying with ride your bike in the sky. Well, yeah, I mean, once upon a time, an airplane was, people thought they were crazy, the Wright brothers and all, Thomas Edison with the light bulb or anything like that. People were like, those guys, I mean, that's crazy. And now we use it every day. Steve Jobs with obviously the iPhone is something I really love with the creation, as in the artistic side and the technology coming together, and how we did that. I mean, all of these things start with in the imagination. So I totally get where you're coming from, which leads me very nicely, Stephanie, to I suppose what will be our final topic is the future plans. I mean, you said there about the Day of Love, and you would love to do that, and I hope you do. In terms of other future plans as well, I mean, you're very much a person who illustrates the process in the sense that you've never really arrived. You're always continuing to develop and continuing to be better than you were yesterday, as we said right at the beginning. So if we map that process forward, however far forward in time that you like to plan, I mean, I don't know. What are some other goals that you'd like to achieve? What are some other things that people can keep an eye out that you're going to be bringing into the world next from this point forward, please? Let's touch on that.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. I've got a few things which are like there's one that I'm testing on a school at the moment. It's a 10 it's a course which has got 10 different lessons in it. And it's all about teaching the child how to control their anger, how to control their emotions, how to look and how to dream big and all these different things. And it's for a primary school. So I'm going to test it on a primary school and then I just want to release it to everybody. I'll go and do a speech after and just inspire everybody. Let the children do the dreaming because that's why they're here. They're here to dream big dreams, which will inspire other people to dream even bigger dreams as well. So I've got a course for the primary school children. I've got a course for teenagers and young adults. And I've got a course for older people who want to keep on driving and being even better. Like it might not be to be Olympic gold medalist, but it might be just to get themselves better. Because that's what I believe in. You're meant to be better than you were yesterday. So therefore, how can you be better than you were yesterday? What things do you need to work on? How do you do it? And it's all using the things that I used when I was training for the Olympics because I was so strict with my diet, so strict with my like all my diary with everything. So therefore, I use these little lessons that I've learnt and help other people to create the life that they want because we are in charge of everything. So therefore, we just need to think it, believe it, and create it. Make the world, work for us. Let it do what we want it to do. Because there is so much negativity in this world. There are wars. We should not have wars. Look, we're 2025. We should not have wars. What on earth are we doing? We need to stop these wars. We need to send love to everybody else, love and hope and happiness, because that is why we're here. We're not here for wars. We're not here for fighting. What that is all negativity we do not need. So in a number of years' time, I'm going to have courses, and I'm going to have open days, and I'm going to have different, events to help other people, to make a difference to people, so that they love life, and they love and live life to their fullest that they most possibly can. Because that's why we're here. We were put on this country, on this world, to enjoy ourselves, to smile, and to create and be, to build new things, like the airplanes, like I don't know, Steve Jobs, like all these wonderful people have created different things. So now it's our turn, and the children's turn, and the children's turn, to create the future they want. We are in charge. Everything will work for us if we let it, and we just need to be. Yeah, I suppose, I don't know. I'm thinking, how can I create this? It's almost like the sun comes up for us every single day. Every single day it comes up for us with a great big smile on its face. And what we need to do is return that smile and smile back, and send the sun love, send the sun hope. And then the whole world will walk around smiling, instead of walk around looking down at the ground miserable. So everyone should be happy. Everyone should enjoy love. What is money? Money is energy. So therefore we should all be able to learn how to create energy, how to create love, how to create money, how to control it. Everyone should be very financially literate. Everybody should know everything. So, yeah, I would just want to spread my love, spread my hope, spread my happiness, spread my financial literacy, spread my use of energy. Want to spread all of this to everybody, so that everybody can be happy. I want to spread love to the world. That's what I would love to do. Make everyone smile.
Absolutely amazing. Well, Stephanie, you definitely are already doing that, those things, spreading love, spreading positivity. And I mean, I said this earlier when we sat down straight away, the warmth and the kindness and the openness, like your positive energy, it really stands out. But taking that forward, I'm sure you'll do a lot more. I'm sure you'll do a lot more. And I'm sure that you'll touch so many more lives yet to come as well. And today, I mean, look, I've done, what is it that I've done now? 475 of these right today. And this is one of the most inspiring stories I have ever heard. And I'm just absolutely blown away by everything. And like I said before, not just the determination and the resilience, but like I said, your whole attitude, the whole embodiment of what you represent as a human being, just by walking around, just by meeting people. Um, to be honest, I mean, even though you've spoken about so many of these things, that's what I've been trying to say is even in your presence, you can feel it. So it is kind of an experience just by sitting with you. I've learned something as well as everything you said. And I mean that from my heart, because that's what it means to embody something. I mean, you are literally that thing in action. And with some of these principles that you've been talking about, you definitely embody them. So long may that continue. And I definitely look forward to seeing your next steps. But for today, thank you so much for sharing everything you've shared. And for being, I mean, as soon as you write books, you've been an open book today. So thank you so much for that, Stephanie. Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you very much for the lovely questions, and thank you very much for listening to me, and thank you very much for everything. You are such an inspiration to everybody else. Thank you for offering hope, and thank you for offering advice, and thank you for offering everything that you give to everybody else. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Stephanie. I do my best, and and I will say to our audience as well, guys. Like I said at the beginning, please follow Stephanie on social media. Look her up everywhere that you can, and join in the journey in that sense because she does a lot. Oh, there we go.
Okay, this is a Paralympic gold medal. Listen to this.
Oh, wow.
The gold, silver, and the bronze have got different number of iron seeds inside them, so that the blind people can hear the difference, because they can't see the color. How incredible is that?
Wow. Hey, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. All the Paralympians I've had on here, which is quite a few actually, but I didn't know that. Wow, that is incredible. There you go. There you go. Well, Stephanie, you are an absolute delight, and wow, I mean, I'm inspired. Everyone listening to this will be as well. Thank you so much just for your enthusiasm, your kindness, your generosity, inspiration, everything that you shared. It is wonderful. And you know what? I don't always do this, but I'll do a little bow because I mean, you've been to Beijing and all of that stuff, but on another side of my life, I am actually a Buddhist sort of practitioner. That's another story. But anyway, what I will do is I will bow because what you shared today is absolutely extraordinary beyond words. Thank you so much. And you have a wonderful, wonderful day and a wonderful week ahead. And please keep in touch anytime. If there's anything else I can do to support any of your initiatives, anything else you're doing, please let me know, and I'd be happy to help out in any way. But yeah, but for now, thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Good luck, everybody. God bless.
God bless, definitely. God bless. Bye now. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.